We got this story. Dangerous. The Little Mermaid is being criticized by a prominent diversity advocate for its erasure of slavery in the Caribbean. Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is part of your historically inaccurate world. A whole new world where black people were never slaves. They learned to swim and dive and not get diabetes. Let me share this. Oh wait, that's that's Aladdin. Sorry, that's Aladdin. Whole New World is Aladdin. Ariel is what is it? She's like uh trinkets, and she's basically a meth head, right? She just finds stuff underwater and is like, "Look at this, it's a doobob. It's a thingamajig. It's a dildo. Look what I can do with it." And the crab and the fish are just like watching her just fuck herself with a fine tooth comb. you know? I don't know why I did a whole new world. But Little Mermaid songs. The only one I know is "Kiss the Girl." It's like la 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 la. You don't need consent. She's black, so just kiss the girl. And I think they got rid of that in this one. Not only in the new Little Mermaid, not only did they erase slavery, they erased the date rape song of "Go Ahead and Kiss the Girl," and that's wrong. La 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 la, kiss the girl. Yeah, because she can't talk, but it's okay because she's black in the 1700s, so you don't need consent. You know what I mean? Like, if you make the Little Mermaid black in the 1700s, it's okay that she just kissed her because she's black, and then they didn't have rights. It was fucking rights on the Isles of Britain, right? It was a prince that the crab was singing to and saying, "Kiss the Negro," you know. Anyway, the Little Mermaid is being criticized by prominent diversity advocate for its erasure of slavery in the Caribbean. Trust me, nothing's erased. Marcus Ryder, an influential British campaigner and the chair of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, applauded the casting of Holly Bailey, or maybe Hale Bailey. I don't know what it is. I was thinking Holly Berry, but I'm like, no, she's too old. That wouldn't work. No one wants an old black fucking fish slave. You know, you want a young, sexy, half black. She's not quite dark. She's not like dark, like you can't see her at night. Like you shine, like you'd have to shine a light to see their eyes. But she's just, like Milano or whatever. Is that mulatto? Milano or mulatto? One's the cookie. I don't know. I don't know which is, but one's the cookie, one's not. We're not talking about the cookie here. We're talking about a half black, half white woman, half fish as well. Um, but no, and her eyes start to fall apart. But it took issue with how the movie showcased racial harmony. Yes, 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 yes. That's the big issue nowadays. You know what I mean? You can have look, you can have race mixing, but you better that the black woman who's dating the white man better bring up how his family used to own slaves. It's like, well, I love you and I'd love to marry you, but your family owns over 100,000 slaves in the Americas. And he's like, well, don't worry, lady. We've made that illegal here, so it's all right. It's the Queen has decided that's illegal here. But hang on, let me do the Blackfish Boys. What you talking about, cracker? It's still legal in the Americas, though. Gup gup. I don't know what sound fish make. The black part was good, though. Am I right? Right. Let's get back to the article. So he took. He wasn't happy that there was racial harmony. And no one should. We should only be happy when the whites and the blacks are just absolutely tearing each other apart, trying to kill one another, riots on the streets, we're firebombing white businesses, black businesses, Asian businesses, we're going to each other's communities. Trump won, so we got to burn down all the black stuff. Biden won, we got to burn down all the white stuff. Uh, the Chinese won, so we got to kill the Chinese. That's just me. That's just where I'm at. He continued, while the importance of casting the Little Mermaid as a black woman has been commented on in numerous articles, the casting of other roles is worth a mention. At the same time, the Little Mermaid's father is white, while her mermaid sisters have various races and different ethnicities. Race as a social construct, as we know it, clearly does not exist underwater. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful that a white dad could just go around and have a child of every race. You know what I mean? Because normally it's the black guy. Normally you end up with a black man. And his first three kids are all black, every one of them, with three different baby mamas, and then he has one with a Latino, one with a white woman, one with an Asian. Tries with an Indian. They think he's disgusting because, they have a racial structure there, and it's well, they have a hierarchical structure there that's it's not based on race, but it's based on color. And the lighter you are, the higher you are in actually, Indian people actually believe in the whole Aryan thing and believe they're the original Aryans, the higher up ones. Um, and so a Indian woman wouldn't have sex with a black man because he's so dark, and they're like, well, that's beneath me. And it's like, well, that's true racism, but we're like, well, no, 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 he's a persecuted person, even though, they're like the number one doctors in all of America. You know what I mean? Like, Indians are literally like, they finish up high school, their parents spend all their money to send that to America. He goes to a university, he becomes a doctor, and then he eats curry in front of you while he's diagnosing your cancer. And it's good, and it's fun, and it's all right. It's not a bad thing, but you won't find him having sex with a black woman. You won't. And same with vice versa. The black, the black woman would probably have sex with an Indian guy. No, she wouldn't. She'd be too disgusted. Let's be honest. They just smell like curry. You know what I mean? It's vice versa. It's like a black man's like, oh, that Indian chick's hot, which they are. Indian women are beautiful. Let me just say, Indian women are beautiful. I love them. The Indian men, like, stop at the sandals, do something about your toenails. You know what I mean? But the Indian women are beautiful. They're sexy. If you can get a half breed, like a half white, half Indian woman, with the accent still, it's kind of hot. Maybe she's Hindu, and you get to have sex with her and seven other gods. I don't know. uh, what's going on. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. All right. But yeah, no, race construct doesn't exist underwater. Oh, look, there she is. Oh, I guess I gotta go back to. Yeah. Thanks, Connor. Copyright Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, courtesy Everett Collection. However, in the blog titled Disney the Little Mermaid, Caribbean. The blog is titled Disney's Little Mermaid, Caribbean Slavery and Telling the Truth to Children. Hey, kids, let me tell you something here. All right? Black people deserve to be represented in mythical animals. But let me tell you something. African chattel slavery. No, no, not cattle. No, no, we're not talking about cows here. Even though, let's be honest here, a lot of those black women are going to look like cows after like 17 slaves they popped out. You know what I mean? But all this time when American chattel slavery was going on, let me tell you the truth, all right? Mermaids existed, but they were also slaves, especially the black ones. This mermaid, Holly Bailey, Haley, whatever her name is, as Ariel, that dude, he wouldn't have been like, yeah, you can go ahead and marry. Oh, will you marry me? You're so beautiful. Thank you for saving me. He would be like, this negress has slaved. Let me run that again. I'll delete that. You delete that, run it back. Okay. All right, so this is the prince after the Black Mermaid has saved me found out. This negress has done her best and saved my life. I think she will be my house negro, and she will take care of the other slaves and make sure they're all right. And I will also have lots of sex with her, unprotected. I'll try to have many children. And if they're light skinned enough, I will tell you what, I will make them my own children and say, that very tan. That's what we'll do, and I promise all of our children, not one of them, not a single one of them, will end up in the Americas as slaves. They will all be my slaves here in the household and have good, cushy slavery jobs in the kitchen or shining my boots. And I will rarely, if ever, slap the shit out of them for fucking up my stuff. Ryder points out that the movie appears to take place in the Caribbean in the 18th century during the time of African chattel slavery. Yet the islanders depicted in the film seem to live in a world free of this inhumanity. Yeah, that's 'cause it's a fucking kids movie. That's why. Congratulations, you retard. I know it was some dumb black activist who's probably adopted and raised by fucking white people after their black parents got addicted to crack cocaine and gave them up to addiction because they needed, like, they sold them. They probably sold them to a drug dealer, and the drug dealer's like, well, I'm going to be a good guy and take this to the firehouse, and he just left the black kid there, and then it got adopted by a white family who was rich, took care of them, did well by them, did everything they could. We're like, we're going to give you a good life and show you how life is good. And they're like, these motherfuckers enslaved us. Why don't they show it in The Little Mermaid? Why ain't they showing it in The Little Mermaid? It's supposed to represent me as a black woman. Yeah. I mean, it has, let's be honest here, it has a lot of depictions of where things are wrong during that time. Because in the 18th century, let's be honest, yeah, she would have been a slave, and she definitely couldn't have swam. All right, you know what I mean? You know, they say we weren't teaching them that. You weren't teaching them how to swim. You know, if you had, and look, let me just say, I'm not pro slavery. I think slavery was wrong. I don't think it was good. And I definitely don't think we should teach kids like, hey, this little mermaid here, if she was around back then and she was black, the prince wouldn't have married her. No, no, he would have enslaved her. And if he did marry her, he would have enslaved all their kids. That would actually be a good twist to fate. Like he just like marries her and then he's like, I want so many kids. And she's like, yeah, me too. Let's have all these kids. And they have 9 kids. And then he just like puts all of them and her working into the fields. He's just like, yeah, no. I just needed, we were running low on stock and you just seemed good. I know my sperm's good, but I don't know about like all that inbreeding. Like the last 7 slaves that popped out have just been retarded at this point. So I don't need any more Down syndrome kids. I'd rather have ones that pop out with fucking fins. And at least they can use their flippers to help flip the dirt in the fields. That's my form of slavery. That's what I want. Shit. There's nothing like ranting and having no idea how you started it from where you ended and just being like, well, I guess that's where we're wrapping it up. In this setting, I do not think we do our children any favors by pretending that slavery didn't exist. Hey, you don't need to instantly introduce your children to slavery. You don't need to pause the movie in the middle of it and just be like, I know this is a beautiful story and you're very happy, but let me be honest with you. If you were that fish, you would have been a slave. You wouldn't have been the princess. He'd have picked the white fish, not the black one. Who wants an ugly black fish with a stinky pussy and a mustache? You guys have to shave every day or it looks like you're a transgender. No one wants that. So you understand, babe? You would have been an ugly Negro slave? All right, let's go back to the movie. For me, Disney's preference to try and wish the inconvenient truth away, that's not what happened. That's the problem. It's not like where they're just like, Oh, no, 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 no. This is an inconvenient truth. We don't want it to happen. Let's pretend it didn't happen. No, no, no. The Little Mermaid was written at a time when it was The Little Mermaid. And then you guys were like, well, let's make a black person play the Little Mermaid. And then you fucking jump again. You do a triple reversal. You're like, why aren't any black people in this movie about fucking mythical fish becoming humans and then becoming princesses to white people who own slaves in the Virgin Islands? Huh? Why aren't there any black people in that story that you came up with? And then we're like, all right, fine, 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 fine. We'll make the main character black. And you're like, you're going to discount slavery? You're going to discount slavery on us? How could you? Hey, hey, we put a blackie in there. We put a black person in there. Would you feel better if the black person had like white fish slaves? That's what we should have done. We should have done white fish slaves. That's what we should have done. White fish slaves. So obviously Poseidon's got to be white, and he's got a black kid, but she's obviously half black. You can tell. You can tell by the genetics. Besides the eyes, those eyes are so far apart. That's the fish genetics, though. That's why it works to have Halle Bailey as a fish, as a half fish, half woman mermaid, because her eyes are so far apart, just like fish. Like fish, one's here, and it's like, okay, that works. But with her, you're like, her eyes are so far apart, and black people can't swim, and it was slavery. Slavery was happening. But it's like, hey, yeah, it happened. We did it. But these are cartoons. For children. For fucking children. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. No one's pretending slavery didn't exist. We're just trying to include black people in the time of that. Like, it would be nice if they made a movie about the slave times, but now we're so progressive that we have black slave owners in there. you know, like, it's inclusive. We have to make our if we were to remake Roots, we would have to make the slave owners also white because it has to be fully diverse. And by fully diverse, I mean Black Panther, 98% black, because that's what diversity means in America. It means it's 98% black. We acknowledge slavery. White people are bad, and black people can't swim. In this setting, I do not think, yeah. For me, Disney's preference to try and wish the inconvenient truth away says more about the adult creatives than it does about the children's ability to work through it. Well, again, children don't need to know about slavery when they're 5 years old trying to watch The Little Mermaid. You teach them that in school. Not every goddamn movie has to be socially engineered to teach children about the wrongs of this country. Okay? Like every country, the whole world is just filled with wrongs. That's what we do. Humans are horrible people who we murder, we rape, we misgender, we enslave, we rape our slaves, we have kids with our slaves, we don't make our slaves our actual kids, we keep them as slaves because they're a little too dark, and we're like, no, he won't be accepted. And back then, it was about social. It was about social stuff, social pressures. You know what I mean? And so it's not about the kid. And it's not about history. When you're making a fantasy child's movie, like, we don't make Dungeons and Dragons where it's like, our races in Dungeons and Dragons. You have elves, you have dwarves, you have humans, you have draconian, you have all these different races. But you don't have a half black, non-binary, half human, quarter Asian, half elf. You know what I mean? You don't do that. It's just too much. I keep turning this mic around. If I'm just holding the mic, I need to get a. Never mind. But we don't do that. We don't just it's fantasy. We're having fun. And so were the slave owners. They were just having fun. Though he acknowledged that the movie is a fantasy and is it a fantasy? Are you sure there aren't black mermaids? Are you sure there aren't fat octopus women giving out legs to mermaid black women under the water so they can become wives to white slave-owning men in the Virgin Islands? Are you sure? Are you sure? He said that Disney shouldn't be encouraging historical amnesia. Yeah. Disney's next movie should be Disney's next movie should 100% be just it should be an animated version of Roots, you know? That's what we need. That's what we need to teach kids. We need to do Roots, but it's animated with Disney characters, Goofy's in the background. Hoo 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 hoo. Or is that Mickey? Who gives a shit? I don't care. Winnie the Pooh's there. Iron Man shows up and frees the slaves. He helps Abe. It's not Sherman's March to the Sea. It's fucking Tony Stark. Tony Stark shows up, ends up just fucking genociding all of the fucking white people in the South. He kills the slaves too, just like Sherman did. It's the March to the Sea. You got to slash and burn everything. We can't make sure these slaves run to a different farm and just continue the South's economy, you know. So the next Disney movie will be Attack of the Fat Octopus When Negroes Revolt. We'll go with that. Uh, the Little Mermaid is a top box office gross. No one gives a shit. Let's be honest here. Look at how far her eyes are apart. Don't tell me she's not half black, half fish. No one's erasing slavery because let's be honest, that's an inbred bitch right there. Shit. First story we got. The first one is so there's a lot of podcasts, like these relationship podcasts that are going on, and people are saying it just makes women look stupid because some of them, like the Whatever podcast, are um bring all these OnlyFan girls on, and this dude Brian is just like subtly kind of demeaning them and just like talking shit. Like it's pretty much just him inviting dumb OnlyFan girls on and then just dunking on them for 5 hours at a time. It's pretty fucking awesome. I actually like it. But the headline making women look dumb is a disturbing new podcast trend. I think is a deceptive article name. You know what I mean? Because they're making themselves look dumb. You know what I mean? It's why people continue to go on this podcast. I just can't even begin to understand. Content creator Drew Afualo said, "Here's the reason why they're still going on the podcast. Women are dumb. They're super dumb, especially when they're making tons of money and they think they're like some global influencer because a bunch of fucking simps online. They post a picture that's like a barely half a nipple hanging out, and it's like, good morning. Uh, say good morning back. They put GM. They put GM. Say GM back, and then they put in parentheses RN, meaning right now. Like you do it right now, and then there's like 80,000 replies of like, "Good morning, good morning, good morning. I love you, I love you so much." It's like you're making yourself look fucking stupid. You're just a dumb whore on the internet, like, and you're just like, "Ew, this is the like I am influential. I can go on there and I'll beat this Brian guy, even though he's smarter than me. He's a man, which makes him better than me in every way, besides it putting out babies and bleeding." Um, and and so people continue to go on it because they think that they have 80,000 simps saying good morning to them. Like those simps are going to fucking go and defend them on this podcast, but they're not because they watch that podcast and say the exact same thing he's saying, and then they still wake up in the morning and jerk off to your photo. It's not working. It's not working. Just because you're influential over simps because you show your tits, as soon as they're done rubbing one out, let me tell you something. It's over with. It's over with. They're gonna watch the Whatever podcast because no one's watching it the night of, unless it's some dude who's like asexual or just like has a prostitute next to him, and he's just like, yeah, shut the fuck. Throws $100. She sucks him off, comes in her mouth, and then he writes another disrespectful comment for another hour. That's what we do. Um, so yeah. Uh, God, this starts off great. For shame. A podcast with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers. No. Millions. The Whatever podcast has millions because that's what this is about. That's the see whatever at whatever. The Whatever podcast has millions of subscribers. So don't say hundreds of thousands, you disrespectful lying. Yep, it's a woman. It's a woman. I was gonna say, but I can't say that. But it's Brooke Cato. For shame, a podcast with hundreds of thousands, millions of followers across online platforms is stoking the flames of controversy by belittling female guests and making them look dumb. No, they do a great job of that themselves. Trust me, I've watched a couple of episodes. He brings on the smartest liberal women he can, which are basically Down syndrome babies. The smartest hot OnlyFans woman basically has the intellect of a 1-year-old baby with Down syndrome. Like they're "Duh, I think what I think is I need to find a good man. All right, let me do it in a woman voice. I think I need to find a good man. All right, let's just stop. All right, whatever. Hosted by Brian Atlas, fucking G, based as fuck, masquerades as a dating talk show while delving into gender roles, body counts, and the legitimacy of the patriarchy. It is legit. It's legit. The patriarchy needs to be there. Look, you try and get rid of the patriarchy, and what happens? You end up with a bunch of fucking trans female or trans woman, trans what is it? Trans ladies, whatever. You end up with a bunch of trans ladies at the top of the fucking pyramids. You got Lia Thomas, number one female fucking swimmer in the United States of America at a collegiate level. All right, what was he born? I mean, what was she born? She was born a da- gosh darn. Sorry, God, I apologize for that. Um, she was he sh she was born a gosh darn he, you know, and we accept that, and that's okay. And but that's reaction of the patriarchy. You have that Navy admiral, Rachel Levin, uh, the first and highest ranking transgender in the United States Navy. Yeah, the first admiral, and we're proud of her. We're so proud of her. But that's what happens when you have women like this going on podcasts like this, saying like, "Oh, I just want to find a good man." Well, I suck 17 dicks on camera and make us tons of money. The podcast team uses social media to seek out women panelists, only to later, quote unquote, roast them online in snippets pandering to the virality of the inflammatory hot takes. Hey, I did that my last 3 episodes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not going to happen this one because I didn't do any clickbait. I'm probably going to get 5 views compared to fucking 100 plus on the last ones with 38 subscribers. Do better. Sub to this. Sub, like, comment now. Do it now. Do it now. In other words, it's perfect clickbait. And then here's a picture of the podcast. So he does it right, He brings on a bunch of people. He puts the more conservative people on his end. This is the whatever guy, Brian Atlas. That's Sovereign Broad. That's someone. That's Mary Morgan. That's someone. One of these people is a really dumb bitch who just asks a question every time Brian asks a question. And that's Destiny. He's a blue-haired lesbian woman who identifies as a woman, and I think he like does a Twitch stream where he doesn't actually play video, like he does Twitch, which is for video games, and video are fun. And I think Twitch streaming is a good idea. And I thought about Twitch streaming myself. Diablo 4 just came out. I was like, well, maybe I should Twitch stream. But I'm like, well, I'm not a blue-haired lesbian, and I'm not doing social issues, and I wouldn't just do it for 12 hours, but only actually play for like 15 minutes and then just talk about social issues and read the comments the rest of the time, like they do, because that's what they do. Like, let's be honest, that's what they do. I mean, and I don't blame them. If that was like a starting thing, like I'm like, ooh, that's a good idea. I should get into that. I would do it, but it's like that. That's where it started. It's ending at like, well, let's put the whatever podcast on Twitch. That's what I think we should do, and that's what they've been doing. Um, so yeah, it is perfect clickbait. Don't get me wrong. But it's a very good idea, and I've listened to it, and it's a whole lot of fun. I very much enjoy the whatever podcast, and I think we should keep that going. Um, the whatever podcast been slammed for belittling women. whatever slash YouTube. I'm glad still they put an ad in there. They still were like, yeah, it's been slammed for belittling women. However, if you want to find it, go to youtube.com slash whatever podcast. No, just slash whatever. In one episode, the panelists, who are all women, rate themselves as tens, much to Atlas's shock. Well, you should, because let's be honest, if you put a bunch of women on a panel, you're not going to expect that every one of them are 10. Like, they wouldn't all be tens. Like, if you got all women panelists and you have at least 6 of them, you're not going to be like, yeah, all these bitches are tens. We're gonna go with this. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're all hot. You're all sexy. No, no, no. Any man is gonna be like, well, she's a 4. She's a 5. She's what? It's just like she's a slut. Like for me, a 10 is like the sluttiest woman in the room or the gothest woman. If I find a goth version, she's obviously a 10. Like Mary Moore. Let me. Look, I get the whole body positivity thing. Like you need to feel good about who you are and how you look and stuff. And not every woman can have a beautiful face. But let me tell you something. Every woman can have a rockin' body while she's clothed. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you take your shirt off and that perfect body just melts into just like this nasty glomp of fat and just like melted ice cream in the bottom of a bowl where like it's half melted, like the top lump is still there but the rest is just gloshed along the sides, you know what I mean? Like it's still ice cream at the top, but if you were to just mix it all together really quickly in a pot, you know what I mean, it would it would basically just become like a thick soup. It would just become a thick soup. And that's what they are. They're just like solid at the top, but as it goes down, it just becomes a thick, miasmic, like death filled soup where you open up the pocket and you just like there's a deceased rat, like you open up another one and there's just a fart sound and it smells like your great grandmother's funeral, like when you went over the body and your grandpa's like, it's a funeral, it's a Catholic funeral, kiss her, give her a kiss, and you're like, no, no, she smells like a dead rat, and you're just like, god damn it, this is respect, and but you do it anyway, and that's what those like not a lot of them but some of them look like. I mean, you get these women that are 7s or 8s, they're like, I'm a 10, and it's like, no, 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 no. If you were a 10, you wouldn't be getting fucked. You wouldn't be getting violently fucked by Hispanic dudes outside the Home Depot for $10. You pay them $10 to violently fuck you because, oh, look at me. I finally, got $10. I fucking hate this camera so much. But you get violently fucked by a Mexican outside the Home Depot and you give him $10 and you make $100,000 and you're like, oh my god, look at me, I'm so hot, I'm so sexy. It's like, you're not. It's just Mexicans are used to super overweight women who have done nothing but eat fucking tortas their whole goddamn life. Their fucking husbands are working illegally at a warehouse somewhere. They got a fake ID from some cartel member in South Central Los Angeles. They got that. They came to Arizona. They got a job at the warehouse. They talked to the manager. Well, they got translated with one of their buddies to the manager and was like, look, my wife will come in on Saturdays. She'll bring in tortas, and then we'll sell them for $3 a piece. Little does he know, she got all the ingredients in Mexico, smuggled them across the border in her asshole, along with a Mexican coyote who put a little bit of methamphetamines in there as well. And so you have a torta, you think it's delicious, but next thing you know, you're getting an Adderall prescription from your doctor, and you're like, I just need this, and I don't know why. And then you find out it's because he was putting meth in the tortas. So you're like, well, fuck this shit. You stop the prescription, and then you end up just getting all these tortas so you end up fat and addicted to Adderall. It's horrible. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going back to the article. It's just, I guess I should switch back. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to rate you guys, but none of you are a 10. Based. Based as fuck right there. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna rate you guys, but none of you are a 10. He says in response, prompted to a chorus of agreement in the comments by users cruelly joking about the woman's weight and appearance. Well, they were probably fat and ugly. Let's be honest here. It was just honesty. I know there was some woke person who wrote this op-ed at New York Post because New York Post is quite right wing. So this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But uh, and they just go on. He doesn't. They should have put the ratings. I would have rated all of them. In fact, I'll rate all these bitches right here, right now. Let's go. So this redheaded broad with the beard, I'm gonna go ahead and say one. This this chick back here with the what is that? The German Kaiser hat. This Asian woman back here, she's got a solid 8. I can't see 9. I can't see the rest of her body. It might get discluded. And then this is Sovereign Bra. Uh, as a lady, I'd give him a 1. The guy next to him as a lady, let's go with 0. Mary Morgan, that's the blonde. Yeah, whew, I like her. She's not. She's 20. I don't know. I don't know how old she is. Point is, she's hot, and also she's a virgin, which makes her hotter. 10. 10 out of 10. Blonde, goth, hot. 10 out of 10 because she's a virgin. 7 out of 10 if she wasn't. This dude's sucking in his gut, so no, we're not getting involved with that. All right, let's not look at the cups. Let's look at the rest of the women. All right, that's a solid. There's a solid 8 right there. This girl with the rose in her hair, red, maroon, maybe not magenta, fuchsia. I would say that a fuchsia shirt. She's got a fuchsia. For you who are not listening, she's wearing a fuchsia shirt and a red rose. I think that was added. I don't know. That doesn't look like it's real. The girl next to her, solid 6. The girl next to her, a 5. Yeah, there's a lot of ugly people on the panel. I agree. I agree with him if this is what we're rating. But there's no 10s but Mary Morgan, and she's not on there, and she's technically not a 10. That's just personality, you know what I mean? Um, so this is a dating podcast. It doesn't. So in another episode, put the episode part. Never mind. In another episode, Atlas grills the panelists on their body counts or how many people they have been intimate with, and this is met with resistance. It doesn't matter to me, but it matters to you guys, one woman said. Yeah, of course it doesn't matter to you how many men have come inside you as long as, you know, you were able to get an abortion in time or your birth control worked. You know what I mean? It would matter if you're like, well, I have 4 baby daddies and 5 kids, so I'm not going to and put myself out there and say my body count just for you two to ridicule me or something. Women are stupid. Look, I love women. I think women are sexy. I'm not a gay man, regardless of what popular media may say. Okay, regardless of what my friends, family, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends might say. I have never sucked a dick in my life. And I don't know what that has to do with anything, but hey, this is where we're at. Um, no 10s. He says no 10s. I don't want to watch the rest. I don't care. They're showing a lot of ugly chicks. It's literally these are all people who are like, no, it's all ugly women who are like, this podcast is horrible. Oh, that's an L. Fuck this podcast. Even though I'm an ugly, fat Latino woman who's gonna gain fucking 100 pounds after I had the first child. That's what I love. It's like some Hispanic woman who goes on there who's like a 7 out of 10, who obviously after her first kid is going to gain 500 pounds and just end up the ugliest woman on the whole entire internet. She's like, I'm a 10. There's nothing you can say about that. I'm a 10. You can't be like, oh my God, look at her. She likes elotes and makes very good burritos. But like, look, just because I have a kid or two doesn't mean I'm going to lose my figure. Yes, you will, you stupid